UBA, G2B, Access, and Zenith banks all declined in share prices, which suggests that investors in these banks were having a field day driving profit. First Bank of Nigeria Holdings PLC dropped by 2.71% from 11 naira 5 kobo to 10 naira 75 kobo at the end of the session, as the market cap also mirrored the decline to 10 naira 77 kobo. To further analyze what went down at the market, we would come back to that. But first, let's take you to the currency market before we wrap up the show this morning. Now, from the currency market, the exchange rate between the naira and the US dollar closed at 414.98 naira to $1 at the official investors and exporters window. Naira gained against the US dollar to close at 414 naira 98 kobo per dollar, representing a 0.03% appreciation compared to 415 naira 1 kobo to a dollar recorded at the close of trading activities on Monday. On the other hand, Naira depreciated against the US dollar at the parallel market on Tuesday by 0.88% to close at 570 naira per dollar compared to 565 naira per dollar recorded as of the close of trading activities on Monday, 1st of November 2021. Meanwhile, Nigeria's foreign reserve recorded the first decline in over 2 months to close at $41.8 billion on Tuesday, 2nd of November 2021, representing $8.8 million drop in the reserve position. The nation's forex reserve decreased marginally.
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners, best in.
Hello everybody, welcome to iBrandTV. This is Looking Good with Amari. Today, how is everyone doing? The weather is great. Today we're going to look at 3 essential oil that is suitable for all skin type. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Welcome back to iBrandTV. The first oil that we're going to look at is argan oil. Argan oil is rich in vitamin E. It's a very hydrating and moisturizing oil. It is soft, it penetrates easily to the skin without clogging to your pores. The second oil is almond oil. Almond oil, as we all know, the seed is very good for, it's a healthy seed, which is very good for the body, and the oil as well is extremely good. The oil contains fatty acid, which helps hydrating the skin as well and moisturizing the skin. Almond oil is a very expensive oil though. It's expensive, but it's worth the money. The third oil is sunflower oil. Sunflower oil is one oil that people really don't know the importance of it because we use something that we use in the kitchen. Like me, I use sunflower oil. It's very essential to the body. It helps in hydrating and moisturizing the skin, especially people that have dry skin. It contains fatty omega-3. So it's the kind of substance that we find in cold liver oil. The combination of the argan oil, almond oil and sunflower oil, your skin is going to give you an extreme glow, soft, healthy looking skin. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We've come to the end of our episode today. I hope you learned a little thing. You know, me, I learn a lot each time I do this because knowledge is very versatile. We don't know everything. If you have a question, you can email us at www.ibrandtv24@gmail.com or any of our social media handle that is going to pop up at your screen. Take good care of yourself. Stay blessed.
Hi, my name is Tosin Pedro.
Your show glass boyfriend, Smooth Prince. I go by the name Kelvin Budge, aka Laylo.
Hi, my name is Elfrida.
My name is Phil, aka the commercial guy.
I go by the name Mix Kid. I'm happy to be here. My name is Destin Kid. I'm a comedian.
And keep watching
iBrandTV.
Because it's a big TV. Don't off that TV.
Stay tuned, don't go nowhere.
Huh? What's the problem? What's the problem?
No.
Huh? I'm looking at your life. I'm looking at the food that is here. Huh? How will this nice food? What is the problem?
I never want to.
Where's your sweet?
I never want to die.
You will not die. You will not die. That's what will happen to you.
Hello. My life is 5%. 5%.
Yes. Sorry.
I
You will not kill yourself. Ooh, when you go to the food that is sweet like this, you will not kill yourself. Let me tell you something. They go upstairs upstairs. And watch you so like this downstairs. They should bring you upstairs. You don't bring you upstairs. What will happen to you? Let me tell you something. I will be with you to the end. Even though this world, everybody reject you. See me? Oh no. Look at me. I will be with you to the end. What will do you? I will be with you. I see sweet rice. Somebody will cook. I say you will. Come on, come on.
God, thank you. I'm bringing a friend like this.
That's why I'm always there.
I go chop this food now. Now I go chop them with full confidence.
But not finish up.
I go chop them. I just say no, let me go die.
Now what you don't want to leave this one.
No, thank God that God has brought you. We will die together.
Wait. There's something that you said I don't understand very well. You say nobody you want that.
I put poison for you. I put poison you.
Not be juju be that.
You put poison where?
I know we say you will be with me. I know you are with me.
Come here. You want to kill yourself? You're bringing me there. I only one son. What do you want to have?
Hello. You said you will stay with me.
I am not staying with you again. You don't know where you stay. Is it not the room? My room is in the other side.
God don't send you for me.
God did not send me. You did not send me to follow you.
You think say they wise?
You said no to follow you now.
Stop me now. Stop me.
iBrandTV. Business first.
Hello, this is News Now, reaching you live from iBrandTV News Studios in Lagos. Coming up, Lagos State Governor orders the indefinite suspension of the last car GM as a result of a Ikoyi building collapse. The Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission cautions petrol marketers against unauthorized pump price hike. The United Nations Children's Fund kicks off back-to-school campaigns. At least 25 people killed and more than 50 wounded as gunmen attack Afghanistan's biggest military hospital. Hello again. Hello again, and thanks very much for joining us. Here are stories making headlines this hour. I'm Michael North. Now, Inspector General of Police Usman Barber has posted a CP Bartholomew Nnamdi Onyeka to Plateau State Command as the new commissioner. The appointment follows the deployment of CP Edward Ebuka to the force headquarters for other national engagements. Force Public Relations Officer Frank Mba made the announcement in a statement on Wednesday. Onyeka, who hails from Nkume in Njaba local government area of Imo State, holds a BA Hons in public administration and master's degree in defense studies from Punjab University, India. Onyema has served in operational, investigative and administrative capacities in Bauchi, Imo, Abia, Zamfara State Commands and Zone 1 headquarters in Kano. The IGP charged Onyeka to use his community building experience to improve public safety and security of lives and property. A high court in Abuja has adjourned hearing on a lawsuit by the coalition of northern groups seeking the organization of a referendum. CNJ has sued the National Assembly and the Attorney General, asking the court to compel the defendants to halt the ongoing constitutional review exercise and, in its place, conduct a referendum to determine what determines Nigeria and who populates it. The suit was aimed at determining the fate of agitations for Biafra, Yoruba nation and other secessionists' agenda. The case was adjourned till January the 20th, 2022, after the court before Justice Inyang Ekbo could not sit the same due to official assignment. Fenifera leader Chief Ayo Adebanjo has maintained that Nigeria may remain an all-motion, no-movement nation if our constitution is not reviewed before the 2023 general election, declaring that if my son emerges as a presidential candidate of any political party, I will not support him if Nigeria is not restructured. The socio-cultural group's chieftain said this during a bi-weekly meeting of Yoruba Global Council, the body of progressive Yoruba sons and daughters at home and abroad, tagged the platform. The body, which seeks respect and good placement for the Yoruba Nation in Nigeria project, also drew accolades from Adebanjo, who commended the body for bringing themselves globally to promote unity, as well as protect the interests of Yoruba sons and daughters home and abroad. No fewer than 20 people have been confirmed dead in the 21-story building that collapsed on Monday on Jarrett Road, the Koi area of Lagos State. The incident occurred on Monday afternoon along Wesley Road in the commercial hub of the nation. While 4 persons were killed and 5 others rescued as of Monday night, the death toll and number of survivors rose on Tuesday as rescue efforts continued through the night. According to the spokesman for the National Emergency Management Agency, 16 more bodies have been recovered. He added that 5 more persons trapped under the rubble have been rescued by emergency responders at the scene. This brings the total figure of those killed and rescued so far to 22 and 10 respectively. The Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Dr. Obafemi Hamzat, who visited the site amid tight security, explained that the premise of the collapsed building has been sealed by the government agencies in charge of testing for more investigation into the integrity of the structure. Earlier on, iBrandTV breakfast show Daybreak, Dr. Dayo Kayode, a political technocrat, shared his thoughts on this sad development.
From the stories I read, I learned that even the governor of Lagos State once locked that place. Correct. Stopped. But then who was the person that now gave the order that issue should continue? Will you say he never heard of it, that thing has continued? Instead of suspending that person, he is the first person that is supposed to even resign as the governor of Lagos State. Because he has failed in his duties and responsibilities to the Lagos State people. Look how many people that died there. If the governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, had lived up to his responsibilities, that building wouldn't have happened the way it happened. That incident at that location wouldn't have happened. You locked up a place that they should stop work, and work still continued. What is the distance of that place to his office? I mean, to his residence at that marina. What's the distance? Is it saying all those building control people that are planning all this, they don't go around, they don't give him information, they don't give the commissioner information? Why are you now heaping in on that young chap who is just a general manager? Rather than suspending that guy, he is the first person that is supposed to resign. If it is where leaders has what we call itiju. They call it itiju. Oh. You understand? I mean, you stop the work somewhere, and then work continued. That means you don't have the temerity to rule the state.
Meanwhile, the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, on Tuesday ordered the indefinite suspension of the last car GM over the building collapse incident. Sanwo-Olu, in a statement by the State Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Wenga Omotosho, said the government had also set up a panel to probe the tragedy. The governor said, quote, "The government will surely find out what went wrong and punish those indicted." The governor, as a first step, has directed that the general manager of the Lagos State building be suspended. Now, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, during visits to the scene, said anybody found culpable will be made to face the law. Meanwhile, the Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki, has commiserated with his Lagos State counterpart, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, the families of victims and the people of Lagos State over the building collapse at Ikoyi, Lagos State, which has reportedly claimed the lives of at least 10 persons. The governor, who expressed sadness over the incident, urged the authorities to beef up emergency operations to ensure the rescue of those still trapped under the rubble. The National Emergency Management Agency has raised an alarm following a report of gas pipeline leakage in some parts of Ikeja, Lagos State capital. The affected areas include Computer Village, Ikeja Underbridge, end of Awolowo Way, Oba Akron Access, Anifo-Woshe Street and Medical Road. To avoid any fire outbreak, the spokesperson for NEMA Southwest, Ibrahim Fari Loye, asked residents to avoid open fire in affected areas. Now, the chairman, Academic Staff Union of Universities, University of Abuja chapter, Dr. Kasim Umaru, on Tuesday said 7 persons were kidnapped in the early morning raid on the institution. The ASU chapter leader called for prayers for the release of the victims. Gunmen had stormed the senior staff quarters of the Uni Abuja in Giri Gwagwalada area council of the FCT on Tuesday around 1 a.m. and left with the abductees. Another lecturer, Professor Basil Dom, whose 2 children were also abducted, said he narrowly escaped the incident.
About the decadence of security in this country. Is it only when we are all dead that people will know that there's insecurity in this country? Let everybody not start going to the gutters. When I say these things, people will start to think. As I am, you look at me, I schooled in the University of Port Harcourt. And I have been a big boy. I know what to do. The situation is getting out of hand. Something has to be done. The poor are the ones suffering. A country that security, that bandits will go and kidnap people in an armory. What will happen to some of us in these porous areas? I am here seated in my house, but my child is there in the bush. My daughter is there in the bush. This is man inhumanity to man. The annihilation of the downtrodden. There's no more a voice for the voiceless. Hi, Basito.
Sorry, sir.
The National Union of Teachers has condemned the kidnap of the vice president of the junior secondary school Yebu in the Kwali area Council of Abuja. The National Secretary General of the National Union of Teachers, Mike Ene, condemned the attack and called on the government to facilitate the release of Nuhu. Some yet to be identified gunmen had on Saturday raided the staff quarters of the school and kidnapped the vice principal, Muhammad Nuhu. Sources familiar with the matter narrated that the kidnappers, who came in at their large numbers, shot indiscriminately before making away with the vice principal. It was also mentioned that the security personnel at the gate were tied to facilitate easy operations. Now, following an increase in the number of out of school children in the southeast of the country as a result of the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, the United Nations Children's Fund has kicked off back-to-school campaigns. They also embarked on an enrollment drive of the out-of-school children in the area. The chairman of Universal Basic Education Board in Ebonyi State, Chief Hyacinth Ikbo, disclosed this during a town hall meeting with health teachers, PTA executives, parents, and other stakeholders at Afikpo South local government area of the state. Ikbo raised alarm over the number of out-of-school children in Ebonyi State and said that all hands must be on deck to bring the children back to school because they are the future leaders of this country. Now, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission has cautioned petrol marketers against unauthorized pump price increase and product hoarding. NOV PRC's operations controller in Bauchi, Abdullahi Ilyasu, gave the warning on Wednesday. His warning came against the backdrop of long queues in some fuel servicing stations in parts of the state. Ilyasu said the federal
African leaders are continuing to push the international community for more help to adapt.
That defaulting marketers found shortchanging consumers will be sanctioned appropriately. He said the official pump price remains between 162 naira and 165 naira per litre. We'll take a commercial break now. We'll come back. We'll continue with the rest of the news.
Mama, you're coming to Lagos. Banga. Baby, Mama just called me now. She's coming to see you. She asked me to tell you to make banga soup for her. And she's close to the house. Oh.
How do you expect me to prepare banga in just few minutes?
I have a solution for you.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
If you sabi cook the banga, you no go enter my family.
Pali banga is used in making other exotic dishes such as banga jollof rice, banga efo riro, banga asaro or yam porridge, banga egusi, and many more. Pali banga is easy to open, no preservatives, no cholesterol, and no coloring. Approved by NAFDAC. Manufactured by Pali Agro Products Limited. Available in all leading stores and supermarkets nationwide.
Pali banga, natural palm fruit extracts for tasty African cuisine.
Oh boy, winning you was so easy.
I just couldn't stand those your powerful shots. That's what happened.
Really? Let's go to my place for dinner.
This fufu is so nice.
It's true unripe plantain flour.
True unripe plantain flour is delicious.
Yes, true unripe plantain flour is what I serve my husband for swallows. It's easy to prepare. Fortified with vitamin A, low in sugar and cholesterol, rich in fiber that helps the heart, builds and strengthens the bone, and his energy level is boosted.
Through unripe plantain flour, no additives, 100% natural, a product of Pali Agro Products Nigeria. Through unripe plantain flour, available in all leading stores nationwide.
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners, best in dry cleaning and laundry services, and meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah. For clean wash and quick delivery. Yeah. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. For clean wash and quick delivery.
Swift Dry Cleaners. Clean wash, quick delivery.
True unripe plantain flour is 100% natural flour gotten from the processing of unripe plantain. It contains no addictive and has a net content of 500 grams. True unripe plantain flour contains vitamin A, B6 and C. It is gluten-free and rich in calcium. Consuming True unripe plantain flour helps to build and strengthen stronger bones and can be a great meal for diabetic patients. It decreases your chances of constipation as it has a high fiber content and provides you with a low-fat diet. Here are some steps to prepare your True unripe plantain flour. Firstly, mix True unripe plantain flour with hot water in a pot and gradually add water till you achieve desired thickness. Place over medium heat and turn very well for 4 to 5 minutes to get the right texture. Mold into a ball and place in a bowl and allow to cool. Serve with your choice of soup. True unripe plantain flour can be eaten with any variety of soup, be it your ofe oha, ofe onugbu, begiri, ewedu, or your miyan kuka. To get your True unripe plantain flour, contact us at 12 Olowera Isheri Road by First Welder bus stop off Omole Phase 2, Olowera, Lagos, Nigeria, or call 070-6663-8213 or 081-6397-4447. Distributors are needed nationwide.
You're welcome back. African news now. African leaders are continuing to push the international community for more financial justice to adapt to the effects of climate change. Speaking on Tuesday at the COP26 summit in Glasgow, the head of the African Union, Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi, highlighted Africa's plight. The president of the African Development Bank also delivered a speech at the event. Additional noted that Africa loses $7 to $15 billion a year due to climate change, which could rise to $50 billion a year by 2040. The continent will need $336 billion to adapt to climate change, and this does not include several $billion needed to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. Africa simply cannot breathe. Africa's 54 nations contribute only about 3% of global emissions, a fact that surprises many people when they find out. The continent is also a home to 1.3 billion people in the world. South Africa's ruling ANC party on Tuesday looked to deliver its worst ever electoral performance since the end of apartheid, with support expected to dip below 50% in local government polls, with more than 50% of polling stations reporting following Monday's fiercely contested elections. The African Nations National Congress stood at slightly under 46% of the vote, according to Electoral Commission figures. Voters were called to elect local representatives responsible for hot-button issues, including electricity, housing, water, and sanitation. Poor service delivery has dogged South Africa for years, while senior ANC party members, including former President Jacob Zuma, face corruption investigations. Meanwhile, unemployment has hit 34.4%. Tanzania has received 500,000 Sinopharm vaccine doses as a donation from China. This is intended to help increase Kenya's drive to vaccinate its people against the COVID-19 pandemic. The country has a mission to vaccinate at least 60% of its 60 million population. This target was informed by experts' advice, which says the country will be free from COVID-19 if at least 60% of the population receive the jab. Prior to this, the East African nation had in October received 1,065,600 doses of Sinopharm vaccines donated by the Chinese government via the COVAX facility. Foreign news now. At least 25 people were killed and more than 50 others wounded when gunmen attacked Afghanistan's biggest military hospital after 2 heavy explosions at the site in central Kabul, officials said. Now, the explosions hit the entrance of the 400-bed Sada Muhammad Dawood Khan Hospital and were followed with an assault by a group of Islamic State gunmen, all of whom were killed within 15 minutes, Taliban spokesman Zabihullah Mujahid said. He said Taliban special forces dropped by helicopter had prevented the attackers from entering the hospital itself, with all killed at the entrance or in the country yard. Earlier, another spokesman said one of the attackers was captured. Republican Glenn Youngkin has been elected as Virginia's next governor in a major upset, with his Democratic opponents conceding the race. The ballot has been widely seen as a referendum on Joe Biden's presidency, and defeat will unnerve the Democrats. He won by 10 points in Virginia in the presidential have hit his popularity. In a speech to cheering supporters, Youngkin promised to get to work straight away to transform the state. Coming up next is business news.
Welcome to Business News. I am Omobolanle Adeshui. The Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, has introduced fresh standards to combat the high level of rejection faced by Nigeria's agricultural commodities at the global markets. The move, according to the standards body, is apt and timely to make Nigeria agro-commodities competitive at the international markets, especially with the introduction of African Continental Free Trade Agreement, AFCFTA. The Director General, SON, Malam Farouk Salim, stated this on the sidelines of the visit of SON Governing Council to audit SON's facilities in Ogba area of Lagos State. According to him, most of the times when Nigerian goods are rejected, it is due to failing to go through standard procedure locally before exporting to other countries, saying that as long as exporters continue to ignore local available standards, their products would continue to be rejected. He added that the standards that were approved were painstakingly developed through stakeholders' input and consideration, pointing out that the move was an indication that standards body is working very hard to ensure that products in the country are not only up to standard but produced for exports. The National Pension Commission, PENCOM, has announced that it has introduced a non-interest fund, Fund 6, into its existing 4 different investment fund structures. The Commission also said it has already issued an operational framework for the fund. PENCOM, which disclosed this in a recent circular to the general public, said this was in furtherance to the implementation of the multi-fund investment structure, which sought to provide investment portfolio choices to pension contributors and retirees. The Commission said the non-interest fund is a fund that complies with the provisions of Islamic commercial jurisprudence and any other established non-interest principles as approved by the Financial Regulation Advisory Council of Experts, FRACE, or any other body constituted by the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Securities and Exchange Commission from time to time. It said RSA holders in Fund 1, 2, 3 and retirees in Fund 4 are eligible to move their RSA contributions to the non-interest fund, Fund 6, by making a formal request to the PFA in line with the provisions of the RSA Multi-Fund Implementation Guidelines and Section 7.6 of the Investment Regulation dealing with transfers between fund types within a PFA. Pension fund operators have been advised to introduce into their operations some flexible options that will encourage contributors into the contributory pension scheme to retain their various fund managers as their pension providers after their retirement. Former Director General, Lagos State Pension Commission, LAPEC, Mrs. Folashade Ononuga, suggested this while speaking at the annual Insurance and Pension Conference organized by the National Association of Insurance and Pension Correspondents, NIPCO, in Lagos. She says such flexibility, like penalties for early withdrawal of pension savings, incentives like offer of basic levels of healthcare, would encourage clients to remain with their pension provider after they retire. According to her, today, pension funds under management is over 13 trillion naira, with enrollment less than 10 million registered contributors. She said with the inclusion of the informal sector under the micro-pension plan, this could be much higher, but noted that pension fund administrators must understand the needs of the population group they wanted to serve. Express Payment Solutions Limited has called on economic managers to strengthen its collaboration with fintech companies to achieve a viral and healthy fintech industry. The firm stated that the fintech industry is one of the industries that thrived during the first outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, noting that the industry grew by over 46%, according to the last statistics by Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, NBS. The managing director, Express Pay Solutions, Mrs. Maki Idowu, stated this at the launch of Express Payment Crash for its staff who are nursing mothers. She noted that the fintech industry has done quite well over the years, especially at the peak of the impact of the COVID-19, as people had to move away from banks to mobile banking to meet their cash needs. That's it on Business News. I am Omobolanle Adeshuyi. It's now back to Michael.
Thank you so much, Omobolanle. Entertainment news is up next.
Hello and welcome to Entertainment News. I am Michelle Abanoum. Adele has disclosed the UK TV special called An Audience with Adele. Happening at the London Palladium, the show will see the singer showcase material from her fourth album, 30, along with classic hits. It is due to air on ITV on Sunday, November 21st. ITV further revealed that Adele is set to perform in front of an audience made up of her own personal heroes, fellow musicians, artists, actors, sportsmen, sportswomen, and more. It comes after the Easy on Me star announced Adele, One Night Only, a 2-hour US special, which will include live performances and a new sit-down interview with Oprah Winfrey from her Rose Garden. Next, Nigerian music icon Wizkid and his Afrobeats colleague Temilade Okpeniyi, otherwise known as Tems, have both bagged 5 award nominations at 2021 Soul Train Awards. They were nominated for these categories: Song of the Year, Video of the Year, the Ashford and Simpson Songwriters Awards, and Best Collaboration for the groundbreaking single, Essence. Wizkid also bagged a nomination for Album of the Year for Made in Lagos, while Tems bagged another nomination for Best New Artist. The Soul Train Music Awards is an annual music awards show which previously aired in national broadcast syndication and honors the best in African American culture, music, and entertainment. That does it on Entertainment News. It's now back to Michael.
Michelle, thank you very much. Coming up next, sport news. Sports brand apparel Nike has filed 7 trademark applications as it prepares to enter the metaverse. As part of the application, the company indicated its intent to make and sell virtual branded sneakers and apparel. According to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, Nike filed applications on October the 27th for Nike, the brand's famous slogan, "Just Do It," and its swoosh logo. The following day, 2 more applications for the Air Jordan and Jumpman logos were filed. In total, 7 different applications have been submitted. In addition to the trademark requests, Nike is looking to staff up in the space. This is not the brand's first foray into the virtual world. In May 2019, the Jordan brand partnered with Fortnite, where characters wore Nike-branded sneakers. Nike has also had several collaborations with the online gaming platform Roblox. In its most recent earnings report on September 23rd, Nike shares are up to 18%, putting its market value at more than $265 billion. A Spanish football coach, Unai Emery, has ruled himself out of contention to be Newcastle United's next manager, saying he is 100% committed to Villarreal. The former Arsenal boss confirmed on Tuesday he had been approached by the Premier League club, who made him their first choice to replace Steve Bruce since the club's £305 million takeover by a Saudi-led consortium. Newcastle United had hoped to have the Spaniard in place by the weekend. Instead, the manager search continues, with the former Bournemouth boss Edith Howe and Paulo Fonseca, who left Roma in May, possible alternatives. That's the end of the news. Thanks very much for being part of it all. I'm Michael Nath.
True unripe plantain flour is 100% natural flour, gotten from the processing